none of the folks at this thing were just overly special. I don't know. I mean, obviously brilliant and amazing at what they do, and so many amazing people, but it's almost like don't meet your heroes, right? Because they're just normal people. They struggle with life as well. They're just trying to figure out their way, trying to figure out what matters to them in life. So that's just a really interesting takeaway. I'm going to record this podcast from the car, low audio quality on my AirPods. I'm driving from Raleigh, North Carolina, actually Chapel Hill, North Carolina, to Athens. I went to a friend's. It was just a gathering of a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are kind of like-minded. I won't share any names, just out of privacy, but got to meet several really influential and successful and thoughtful and badass people. I'm just going to share a few takeaways I'm digesting. I think so. The schedule was we all kind of came together around basketball. So we had a full day of basketball yesterday. It was hosted by my friend Sean Puri and his podcast co-host Sam Parr, who both of those guys are friends of mine, and they brought together 24 of folks from their networks who have bought and sold companies and made their way in this world. And several of them are billionaires. Many have sold their businesses for $400, $500, $600 million. Many of them have businesses that they still own and operate for, worth 500 million plus. And we got in Friday night, had dinner, and then we sat around and chatted all night, basically, or not all night, till midnight or 1 a.m. We woke up at 9, had breakfast, and went to play basketball. And we spent a lot of time together between games because we're all, 30 plus, out of shape, relatively out of shape. I mean, most people there were fit, but relatively out of condition for basketball. Then we just spent time together. Came back to the house for lunch, spent time together, played more basketball, came back, spent more time together, stayed up last night till 1 a.m. chatting and getting to know each other. And I had an opportunity to talk to a lot of folks about life, about business, about what it's like to build wealth. And I'm just going to, I'm still processing it. I only left 3 or 4 hours ago. It's Sunday right now, driving back to Athens, but a couple just insights. I think one thing that's unique, or not unique, I guess, that you could guess, is that most of the people there, when they were involved in their business, worked extremely hard, 60, 70 hours a week for a long time. I mean, it may seem like an overnight success, and a couple people there did really hit the lottery and build businesses that they sold very, very quickly. But most people worked on something special and were different for a long time. Building arbitraging internet search at 12 years old, for example, and learning very unique skill sets in high school or college or interests. And the common theme is a lot of work, a lot of the time. And it made me a little bit, I'll just be vulnerable to you, like I was vulnerable to some of the folks there. It made me pretty conscious or a little bit embarrassed about, frankly, how little I work. And it's going to sound funny. I'm going to do my best to explain it, but part of it is the fact that I'm an influencer. Some of these people are influencers as well. I was able to relate to a lot of the struggles around that. And once you start to build an online brand and a persona and preach something, it starts to kind of shape who you are, and you start to really gravitate towards those things, and you kind of change yourself. When I put it in public, I hold myself really accountable, and I start to change myself. And one thing that you hear me talk about all the time is delegation and management and hiring and making key decisions is what I do. And if I have a job inside my company, I don't like that. And, since 2017, when it comes to actual tasks inside of the company, 10, 20 hours a week is what I would average. Since 2017, I spent a lot of time sitting on a rock, a lot of time waiting, a lot of time, just letting time do its thing. And now with this online persona that I have, if I have a job inside my company, I'm pissed about that. I want to just continue to work with and empower and nurture talent. And I think a lot of the folks there have 3, 4, 500 employees, and they do that as well, just naturally. But I don't know, just felt a little different when I hear stories about how hard folks worked on the way up and how, I don't really have that, to lean back on or to hang on the wall. But alas, I think a couple of more unique things is that there's not very much alcohol consumed. I think of the 25 badasses, 10 to 15 of them did not drink at all, or very, very rarely. One or two drinks, the rest of us, one or two drinks and a cigar. And that was a positive change of pace for me because I'm around a lot of folks who enjoy to drink alcohol and some folks who binge drink alcohol and college buddies and bachelor parties and stuff like that. And it was just very unique to see the fact that, hey, here's a bunch of people who are very, very good at life and kick a whole lot of ass, and very few of them drink, which was refreshing and awesome. And also, I feel good today driving home. There's a common theme among some of the folks who have gotten wealthy and have been wealthy for 6, 7, 10 years. Just that once you hit the numbers and you have the cash, and we're talking millions of dollars to the point where they would never really need to work again, there's kind of an emptiness inside. And the business and the thrill and the building and the deals, it's definitely can become an addiction, and it can become something that you're after, and it can become something that you have to have. And I can 100% relate to falling into that trap of, oh my God, building a business and getting customers and cash and having big wins. That is addicting in a major way. And I find myself getting addicted to the game of starting a new company, spinning it up, consulting a company, getting involved in businesses that I now dabble in through the podcast and online brands and so on. That never goes away. And trying to find balance and hobbies and be a good dad, and a good husband and be fit can be tough. Another thing is a lot of the folks were vulnerable, and I had a couple of really good conversations around like the insecurity that comes and how it drives a lot of folks, the insecurity, the fear, the lack of self-confidence that really drives a lot of the folks who are super successful to just continue to crank and just get really, really good at what they do and build an identity around that. So, interesting enough, I think some of the folks, including me, what it feels like to lose tens of millions of dollars and maybe making a bad decision or sell your company at the wrong time or make a critical strategic error that costs you years or millions of dollars. All those things are very common among almost everybody there, that they dealt with some really tough stuff. Another thing is just the balance of being present in other areas of life, staying fit, staying healthy, being a good father. Many of the folks there had kids. Being a good father, being a good husband, having hobbies, having other interests, having a good social life. Many of us struggle with that balance because we're not wired to find balance. We're wired to make a lot of money and build businesses, and that's what we're really good at. So we spend a lot of time doing it, and we have a hard time nurturing those other gardens and other areas of life. And one of the vulnerabilities that I shared is that I feel like I'm being a crappy father over the last 3 weeks. My two sons are 3 and 5, and they are really tough right now, really tough. And since the new baby came 4 months ago, it's been on me to get them up, get them out of bed, change their diapers. One of the 3-year-old is not quite potty trained yet. Get them fed, get them out the door, get them to school, pick them up from school, set them down for dinner. After dinner we play, and then we take a bath and we read books, and I put them to bed. And it's not as much work as I make it sound. We have help, some date nights and some help on the weekends, but it's just, for me as a person who relies on logic, and I consider myself a critical thinker and somebody who likes to make decisions with, outcomes that make sense and working with things that I can understand. It's been a real struggle for me as a dad because I don't understand what it's like to be emotionally unstable 3-year-old that throws fits. I don't understand what it's like to be a 5-year-old who just wants to pick on naturally and bully their younger brother and make their younger brother cry. So it's been hard with a lot of fits and a lot of me getting too angry at my kids. And you talked to me 4 months ago, and I hear people talk about how they had fathers that were mad all the time, angry all the time, grumpy all the time, yelling at their kids all the time. And I never did understand that. I was like, what are you, how could this ever happen? Like, you have kids, they're amazing. They're versions of you, and you get to shape them and work with them and love them and kiss them all over and cuddle them and have fun. But now over the last 3 to 4 weeks, I understand it. I understand why parents get in that funk. I understand how hard it is. I understand that there could be a little bit of misery along the way. I think that's what makes it so amazing. This is not a knock on kids. We're going to keep having kids. We have 3 now. We're definitely going to have 4, maybe 5. But it's just an area of my life that I really need to freaking focus on. I think part of it means being present, like getting off my freaking phone, dealing with my Twitter addiction, dealing with my email and deal addiction, and just the fact that I'm thinking about, and I say I work not as much. I said that earlier in this, or just a few minutes ago, but it's really some of these decisions that it's my job to make, some of these really high value decisions that I have to make every week and every quarter. Okay, are we going to refinance the deal? What type of debt are we going to use? Which deals are we going to buy? How much are we going to pay? It's really steering the financial outcomes 3 to 5 years from now. So they're very stressful and important decisions. I spend a lot of time thinking about them instead of maybe sitting down and giving my sons full attention while we're having breakfast in the morning, or being fully present while we're playing, or doing something before bed. So I'm excited to get home and work on that a lot. I also think I'm going to get a therapist. I talked to a couple of guys about that. I've never felt like I needed a therapist for anxiety. I'm generally a positive person. I'm generally very confident. Some of the folks at this meeting, at this gathering, said, they had severe insecurities and some depression after their business had succeeded, and they were wondering, like, what is life all about? I'm not feeling that right now. I generally have a lot of confidence. I feel good about myself. I feel like I'm very good at what I'm doing. I'm operating in flow a lot of times. I have a good work-life balance. But even a little thing like being a better dad and making sure I'm a really good husband and just talking about things with somebody, I think will be awesome. So I'm going to get a therapist. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to drink less alcohol. I thought it was pretty inspiring that these folks didn't need to have a beer when it was time to socialize. And I've been kind of programmed to, of course, we're not going to get drunk and go out and get to where we can't drive home, but I don't need to have a beer with dinner to have a really good conversation with good friends. I don't need to have a beer to relax or wind down, 3 nights a week after work. So pretty excited about that. And generally just, I want to be a badass in some other areas. I want to keep working on my fitness. I want to keep working on my hobbies. I want to keep working on being a dad, a good husband, and then continue to do high leverage activities in business, which I think is a real strength of mine. I'm going to leverage that to, do even more and do even better in that area. So overall, you might think of billionaires as just beautiful people who are fit and have their life together and are excellent communicators. But what you see from the outside is just a bunch of dorks. Like, we were all dorks, nerds, different in our own ways, goofy. None of the folks at this thing were just overly special. I don't know. I mean, obviously brilliant and amazing at what they do, and so many amazing people, but it's almost like don't meet your heroes, right? Because they're just normal people. They struggle with life as well. They're going through things. They're just trying to figure out their way, trying to figure out what matters to them in life, what they want to do, how they're going to spend their time. And those are hard things. And money definitely doesn't solve all problems. It definitely doesn't lead to happiness 100% of the time. So that's just a really interesting takeaway. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was just a little bit, but I hope it gives you something to think about, and definitely does me. I come away from this, and I think an overarching thing is find things that really give you energy, and find people that are going to make you a better version of yourself. I'm lucky enough that I have a wife that is a badass, and she wants me to become the best version of myself, and she wants me to enjoy myself, and she wants me to get better, and she wants me to live a good life, and she's on my team. She's helping me build that, just like my business partner Dan helps the pie grow for both of us in business. My wife helps the pie grow for both of us in marriage. She's not selfish. She's not dramatic. She can struggle with grace. And, that's a really special thing. Just like you got to find a partner, you really need to find people in your network and in your group of friends that bring you energy. Find people that challenge you and ask the hard questions and are there for you to voice your concerns and be vulnerable with, and that you could be vulnerable with them and they're willing to open up to you. Find those people, because if you do it right and you go to things like this, they can be life-changing events, and you can really learn from some people some amazing things, and you can put things in perspective and realign your expectations with reality. And I think happiness is one of the guys said, happiness is when your expectations align with reality. And if you have too high of expectations and reality is not there, you're going to be unhappy in any area of life. If you have unrealistic expectations for being a father, reality is lower than that. You're not going to be happy with being a father. If you have unrealistic expectations of your wife and reality is lower below that, you're going to have unhappiness. So business is no different. All these different areas of life that we as men are trying to build, it's about finding people who can help you align those expectations, help you, are not afraid to tell you when you're off about something, and just make you a better person. So you leave things like this, and I just feel energized. I feel like I just made a big career leap. I feel like I'm going to be a lot better. I'm going to be a better businessman. I'm going to be a better dad. I'm going to be a better person because I was at this get together with these incredible people. And I just feel lucky to have been invited. I'm very, very thankful for Sean and his partner, Ben Levy, for putting it on, doing all the work to get us there. It was a special, special, special experience. And it's what brings me energy. And I want to do this more often and, just continue to improve. These things make me better, and I want to get better. I feel good when I'm, people ask like, what makes you happy, Nick? And I think it's pretty clear. I know myself by now that progress makes me happy. Improvement makes me happy. Overcoming challenges. I like struggling. I like it when things are hard because it makes it more rewarding and more fun. It makes me harder as a man. I want to avoid becoming soft, but like progress and steps forward make me feel good. And this weekend was a huge step forward and huge progress. I'm just really thankful for the opportunity to do that. So I suggest that you, in your area, whatever you're into, whatever you want to improve upon, find people who are better than you and get in that room and be vulnerable and get advice and try to go get a little deeper on some things with these folks, because it can have a super positive impact on you and your life. But hope this helps.
Juniper Square, the sponsor of this show, recently conducted some research to help you understand what real estate investment managers are doing to build stronger relationships with their investors and earn more referrals to new investors. Their new special report includes data on topics such as what factors are the most important for building investment relationships today, how technology is being used to provide a competitive edge, and the one technology integration that is driving more repeat investors and more referrals. To download this for free, visit junipersquareresearch.com. Again, to get this report for free, visit junipersquareresearch.com. I just wanted to let you know that we have a paid real estate community with over 500 members. Not many people know about this. It's on Facebook. It's an inside look into my business and many other business. It's skewed towards self-storage, but there's also a lot of other commercial real estate investors in the group. We're pinging ideas off of each other. It's just where I share a lot more intimate details about my business than what I share on Twitter or on this podcast. So if you're interested in this and you want to meet other people, there's been people investing in each other's deals on there. There's been people share deals that other people bought. It's a place where a lot of cool stuff is happening. If you're interested in this, visit sweatystartup.com/REC, as in real estate community. sweatystartup.com/REC. There's a free trial as well. You can check it out for a week for $1.